Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is secret weapons from Israel, the Pope, and the Antichrist. And before we get started, let me just say, I debated about whether I should say this or not, but probably 25 years ago in the middle of the night, the Lord spoke audibly to Leslie, my wife, and said that one day Prophecy Club would be the biggest prophecy ministry on the globe. And then June 27th of 2008, this was the night that the Lord spoke to me and said, Stan, I will give you the money to drill the well in Israel. And I want to say that I have to give you a disclaimer. We cannot guarantee we're ever going to get the money drilled for or hit oil in Israel. But that same night, he said, when the prophecies I gave your wife begin to come to pass, people from all directions will begin to turn and listen to your ministry. And I've thought about just making a whole program talking about how God has got me and Leslie prepared to speak in sports stadiums, to lead thousands upon thousands of people to the Lord. I never have got around that because I think it's kind of calling too much attention to myself. And it's, I don't have to worry about it. I just have to stay clean and continue to walk the path that God sets before me, and the rest I believe will happen. How many people have walked on Mount Sinai and been in Jesus' tomb? How many people have a piece of Noah's Ark and sulfur balls from Gomorrah? We're in a unique position to be able to tell people that, the Bible's true, and Jesus really died on the cross. He really arose 3 days later, and he is the only way to eternal life. Now, I say that because I got a phone call. I hesitate to tell you who it was, but I believe him. Credible. And there may be an opportunity for Prophecy Club to reach a lot more people. But it costs $5,000. And of course, we don't have any $5,000, We're pretty much hand to mouth around here. But we haven't actually talked to the horse's mouth yet. So if we talk to the horse's mouth and if it sounds genuine and real, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to say, okay, is there someone or some group of people, or would you be willing to help us get that $5,000 so that we can start reaching a lot of people? So there, I didn't plan to say all that, but nevertheless. Okay, so secret weapons from Israel, Pope, and the Antichrist. So here we go. So yesterday I got this in an email, and it comes from my good friend Paul Begley. Him and I became real good friends at a recent prophecy conference, and he obviously is credible. So here's what this guy sent him 2 emails and said to him. Mike from around the world said, I have an update on global affairs. We're in the throes as never before, and it will alter the lives of all who are alive. Now, you remember yesterday from You Be Ready, it said the show has started, okay? 4 minutes before, he sent me that email. I also received another email from one of my insiders. This is what they said. Remember Benjamin Netanyahu fired Defense Minister Yoav Gallant in 2024. He brought in Israel cats. Get ready for fire and brimstone. That's important. Get ready for fire and brimstone. Cats has no mercy. And when they shut the Gaza gates, you will see weapons that have never been seen before or used. Remember, cats made this quote, the gates of hell shall open, and I'm expecting the events soon, unquote. Now, what does shut the gates of Gaza mean? Okay, so Trump is trying to say he's going to take over Gaza. It's going to be American property. And we're going to bring in lots of business people and turn that into kind of a French Riviera in the Middle East. Well, when it says shut the Gaza gates, what does that mean? To me, that doesn't say that all the Palestinians are going to be run out, nor bust out to other nations. To me, I don't even want to say this. But I have to bring you the interpretation, what I see in that. To me, what it says is they lock the Palestinians in and destroy them. Now, that does not fit with too many prophecies today, but hang on to that. Let's watch and see. Let's see what happens. Now, on to the next slide here. You remember this came from John Paul Jackson, and he said he got a series of newspaper headlines given to him. This was one of the newspaper headlines. What other secret weapons does Israel have? Has Israel played all its cards? So, is there soon to be war in Israel? Is Israel soon to start using some kind of a secret weapon that the world has not seen yet? Also, another headline he saw was more explosions in Tel Aviv, radioactive traces found. Those two things say that there is a war in Israel coming, and of course, with the other prophecies and what the Bible says, we know that's coming. But I'm not talking about Armageddon. I'm talking about something before Armageddon. There's more. Now, I'm going to interrupt because for the last couple of days I haven't even talked about this. I don't always promote this stuff, but I think it is important, especially if you have an IRA, 401k, or some kind, if you have your money in paper, 800-200 gold. If you want to get some prepper bars, you see the phone number. If you have crypto and you want to put it into gold or silver, blocktruστira.com. And also, I haven't mentioned this in a while, josephkitchen.com. You know, we got, 7 or 8 prophecies, I'm about to cover them, that say that there's a food shortage coming. And rather than spending $9,000 or $10,000 per person to feed one person for a year, at Joseph's Kitchen, you can do it for about $1,000 a year. Why spend $9,000 or $10,000? And the last thing is, we got 38 prophecies that say suitcase nukes are going to go off in America. Having one of these on your cars, one on your house, might mean your car starts when no one else does. Your computer starts when no one else's does. Promo code PROPHECY gets you a $50 discount. Now, I've said enough of that today. I've said that a couple of days, and hopefully you will appreciate. Look, I don't like commercials either, but I like paying our bills, and I like to see Prophecy Club continue, okay? So that's why I do it. Okay, so here it is. We're continuing talking about Israel and its secret weapons. Leaked top secret documents show Israel to attack Iran nuclear sites in early March. There's several other sources saying something is going to happen in early March. Now, before we get started in this, let me remind you, March 14th, if I remember right, I'm not an expert on this, if I remember right, a new budget has to be passed by March 14th. So, something big bad about to happen? Hang on. Purportedly leaked classified top secret documents circulating on the website 4chan say that Israel will conduct a large-scale military preemptive attack against Iran nuclear sites as early as this week. Now, don't forget, Trump said you better release all of the hostages by this Saturday is what he said. And they weren't all released. And he said, if you don't, hell's going to break loose. Well, hell hasn't broke loose yet. And I think that's my point. Let's go on, though. The authenticity of the documents cannot be confirmed, but after initial analysis, it seems, like to Hal Turner, like it is indeed a leaked, classified, top-secret document. So a guy that was in this stuff for his whole career says they appear to be genuine. The leak appears in 3 separate images, which I'm not putting up there, uploaded to the public accessible website 4chan. The first page appears to be a summary page outlining the U.S. intelligence has confirmed Israel is in its final planning stage for major military aerial assault and a cyber offensive attack on Iran nuclear sites to take place in early March. Prophecies say that there's going to be another, at least one, maybe even 2 wars with Israel before Armageddon. Oh, let's go on. Now, I've covered this many times, but there's a couple of things I got to point out. So this is in 2002. Leslie had a dream, but these are the points of the dream. That Arafat would go into the hospital and die there. 2 years later, that happened. So that means this is confirmed. Then she was told that Israel will give the Palestinians a state. Now, I hope that doesn't happen, at least with America forcing it. Now, if Israel wants to give Palestinian state and America can keep their hands off, that's fine. That's not our problem. But if we force it, and my guess is we would be the ones forcing it, then the Palestinian state would be a temporary measure allowing the Israelis time to strengthen the military. Oil will be discovered in Israel, and I think I know who's going to discover that oil. The oil will make the Jews willing to fight for the land, and I'm going to add, it'll also give them the money to build their military. Now, here's the point. Israel and America would go against most of the Arab world, and that's in a lot of other prophecies. So essentially what I'm trying to point out today, here's one case where there's another war involving America in Israel, and it's not Armageddon. Let me also remind you this. So Omer ushers in Palestinian state. The Omer this year, if it happens this year, we don't know that it's going to happen this year, but if it happens this year, would be the counting of the Omer with the 49 days between between first fruits and Pentecost. This year is April 13th to June 1, meaning we could see the headline, Omer ushers in Palestinian state before June 1. That happens, and people from all directions can start turning to Prophecy Club. Because now, of course, I'm biased, but I think that God has given Prophecy Club some of the very best end-time information that he wants out. But he wants it out at a specific time. And I'll let you read the rest of them, but I want you to look at number 5. Israel is attacked, America sends troops. Now, I do not know for sure what that is, but my guess is that that is probably the thing that gets the Russians to attack America. That's, again, just a guess. All right, let's go on. Now, I'm going to talk about these for just a minute. So here's some prophecies I want to talk about. Prophecies say that Russia will destroy America in 1 hour. That's the reason right now we better be friends with Russia. We better not, in my opinion, entangle ourselves with the most evil nation on earth, Ukraine, and wind up in some kind of a situation where we're attacking Russia, as this could be the whole plan to take down America and get us involved so Russia can attack us and take us out. So if Trump will just call me, I will tell him, don't send another bullet or another dime to Ukraine. Walk away. If they fall, let them fall. Not our problem. Tell Europe, fix it. It's your problem. It's in your neighborhood. 2, suitcase nukes will hit America. We got 38 prophecies. 38, I think I got it here. I'll cover it again in a second. They're saying suitcase nukes are going to hit America. We are praying against it, which you might want to join us at prophecyclub.com. It's called Fast Gap. Go to the bottom. You can sign up and be part of the fasting prayer team. Next thing is the dollar will devalue to 0. We're looking at Trump possibly going into Fort Knox in the next week or two, just a guess. But if he comes out with any kind of a negative, all of a sudden that dollar could devalue going to 0. Now, you might be thinking, oh, well, Trump wouldn't want to devalue the dollar. Oh, yes, he does. That's part of the plan, is to take down the all-capital United States of America set up by the banking families, what was in 1871 or something like that. He wants to take that down, bring in a whole new system, which is why he is courting all of the crypto stuff. And, of course, Musk has got his foot right in the middle of it. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. Devalue causes chaos and riots. That's what Shane Warren and I think also Terry Bennett said. Is that around the corner? My opinion, yeah. If we can get through 25 without it happening, we did real good. Food shortages, high prices. I don't know, 8 or 10, 12, 14 prophecies on that. Lots of them. But I can't, I'm just going to share my heart here for a second. I can't see, at least it feels like, I can't seem to get people to believe me when I'm telling these things. They want to think, oh, yeah, well, it's entertainment, but, it's over the horizon someday. Yeah, it's never going to come. I don't see it this way. I can see, Oh, let me be fair about this. I'm the guy that thinks that all of these things are going to happen almost every year. And that's true. But a watchman, that's what they do. They see these things possible every year. And they warn about it. That's what we do. That's what you do if you're a watchman. But I'll have to say I have never seen so many outside indicators that say we are at the door. People start fighting against the government. Man, we're seeing Democrats. I mean, just like last night, watching Trump and his, it wasn't State of the Union, but it was what's not dual, what was a joint session of Congress. The Democrats, it's hard to believe there are people living in America with such hate in their hearts. It's a good example of what the devil's people look like. That's the reason I say again, I can't imagine a Christian calling themselves a Democrat. And I've only met one Democrat that calls himself a Christian. Of course, then I would say, how can you be a Democrat and be a Christian? Now, that's not saying all Republicans are Christians either. Okay, anyway, let's go on. Now, here's some things that the news says. Musk has terminated thousands of government jobs. Probably we're getting close to 1 million people that have been thrown out of work in the last 6 weeks. Now, some of these people are government workers, obviously most of them. So when you've been a government worker, where do you find another job? Where do you find them? Where do you find a job that'll pay you the kind of overpayment salary you've been enjoying? So we've got about 1 million people that are out on the street. Yes, some of them have a golden parachute. Most do not. They're going to be angry. There's more. We also have 21 million people from other countries that have snuck in here illegally. And up until this point, the Biden administration has been feeding, clothing, housing, giving them free medicine. But Trump, last week, has cut that off. So now we don't have 1 million. We have 22 million people out of work, angry. They're about to get hungry. They need a place to stay. What does that tell you we're about to see? Do you see that we're about to, it could be a couple of weeks. I hope it's a couple of months, but I'm almost certain it's not a couple of years. In other words, it's real close before we're seeing blood, burning, riots, anger in our streets like America has never seen. What did Dmitri say? The fall of America would start with an internal revolution in America started by the communists. Some of the people would start fighting against the government. The government would be busy with internal problems. Then from the oceans, Russia attacks. Now, I started to put this article in here from HowTurnRadioShow.com. And he's talking about how that they have reprogrammed most of their satellites to watch the Mexican border. Then he went into explaining, do you understand what that means? First of all, it is a major, major, major issue to reprogram the orbital circle of a satellite, a military satellite. And when they send that satellite up, it only has so much fuel in it, meaning they probably can only reprogram it once, I'm just guessing here, maybe twice in its lifetime. Once it is programmed, it pretty much better not move. In other words, what I'm afraid of is that Trump and the military has reprogrammed the circle of those satellites watching Mexico, meaning that they're not watching Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, Mexico, North Korea, Venezuela as much as they used to. So that would mean probably Russia's going to find that out. They can see the orbit the satellites are in. They can tell what we're looking at. And so they know, hey, America's not watching. Time to build up our military. Time to get ready for a surprise attack. Are you following me? Now let's go on. Then Musk has discovered God mode. We covered this too. which is basically a way that he could get around all usernames and passwords, all firewalls, all blocks, all bridges, all dams. He can get around all of them and all of his computers. No one can lock him out of any computer in the federal government now. I'll come back to that if I have time. Also, Putin has now indirectly threatened retaliation. He just gave a speech the other day that basically said, if you don't line up, we're going to take you out. There's more. Also, as I said, it is rumored that Israel is going to hit Iran. Then Putin has recently offered his assistance with Iran negotiations between Israel, Iran, and America. Putin has offered to assist in those negotiations. I hope that's good. See, a lot of people think this Putin guy is just such a bad guy. Okay, yeah, he's a bad guy. But he's a guy we got to keep a friend. Remember what the old saying says, keep your friends close and your enemies closer? We better keep Putin close. Also Putin has now offered, just here the last couple of days, to sell the United States rare minerals, and he says Ukraine does not have but $20 million in rare earth minerals, and we're expecting it to have $350 billion. He said, but Russia can supply them. So I think, if Trump will just call me, I would say, Trump, walk away from Ukraine. Walk away. Don't give him another dime. Don't get another bullet. Get out. Have anybody that is there, get out. Walk away from Ukraine. Let it fall. Instead, go over and make a deal with rare minerals with Russia and become friends with the Russian bear, a nation that is prophesied to take you out in 1 hour. Be friends with the Russians. Let the Ukrainians, the evil nation of all time, fall. Let it fall. And I still haven't covered all of the truth behind Ukraine and all of this Russia-Ukraine thing, but Russia's not the bad guy here. I'll just tell you, Russia's not the bad guy. Ukraine's not the bad guy. America is the bad guy here. Also, Trump has paused aid to Ukraine. Well, good for you, Trump. March 14th is supposed to be a new budget shutdown, protests. I mean, I'm saying that all of this stuff we've been talking about for years now, it's not over the horizon. It's not at the end of the block, nor is it at the end of the driveway. It's knocking on our front door. Couple more things. And I covered this the other day, but there's some new additional thing. I'm skeptical of Elon Musk. I want to believe he's a nice guy. I hope he's a nice guy. I hope he's there to help. But let me point out some facts. Is Elon the man who will bring in the mark of the beast? Because if he is, he'd have to have access to a global financial system, and he does. He would also have to have a quantum computer. My guess is yes, he does. He'd also have to have a satellite network, and yes, he does. He'd also have to have a global network, computer network, connecting every person, and X is supposed to become the everything app. So, yes, he does. Now, here's the new information. He also must have access to U.S. data systems, and as of February 24th of 2025, Musk got the God mode access. No more username or passwords for him. He can go right into it. So here it is. God mode access achieved to all USG agency computers. Algorithms created by the United States Department of Government Efficiency have finally achieved what they're calling God mode access to every executive branch agency spending system. Algorithms are now inside of all executive branch systems, actively tracing all transactions, cataloging all the prerequisite or the requisite information, and creating output files for presidential review. No expenditure of money can be hidden by vast networks of pass-throughs, or they can't hide anything anymore. All secrets about government money spending, all can be seen. They now have penetrated all levels of access. No court can stop them. The fool judges can't stop them. Nothing can stop them anymore. Now, I'm going to try to cover this. I'm not saying October the 5th, 2022 start of the tribulation. But 3 other people do, and I'm not going to cover the 3 people right now. But just for a minute, let's assume that they're correct. Let's assume October 5th, 2022 did start the tribulation. What else does that mean? That would mean that the middle of the tribulation is March 18th, 2026. Jesus returns for Armageddon, August 29 of 2029. Now, hang on to that. I'm not setting dates. Hang on. So this is a little chart I drew. What I want you to look at, over on the left, is the start, October 5th, 2022. 3.5 years later, in the middle is March 18th. So here we are, March 2025, we're here. See the yellow arrow there? We're about a year away from the middle of the tribulation. Well, that's my point. So what would happen? It means that here on a short order, we ought to start seeing the Antichrist pop up. Or maybe we've already seen him and we don't recognize him. Also, we ought to start seeing the false prophet pop up. And the Pope may be on his last leg. Also, we ought to start seeing the temple built or the tabernacle of Moses made of lamb's wool brought out and the temple erected. And that can happen within a couple of days. That we're not talking about a big stone building being built. We're talking about a lamb's wool tabernacle that Moses drug around out in the wilderness for some 40 years, being pulled out of a cave, and apparently what the report is, it's still good today. And that would also bring out the Ark of the Covenant. Because in the middle of the Antichrist, or in the middle of the tribulation, the Antichrist sits on the Ark of the Covenant, proclaims himself God, shuts down animal sacrifice, but not sacrificing animals in Israel right now. Well, the problem is Israel said they were going to sacrifice an animal before the end of 24. Well, here we are in 25, they still haven't done it. My point is, we're very, very, very close. So we could start seeing a lot of things happen real fast. That's my point. I'd recommend you get Potassium Iodide at prophecyclub.com. When a nuclear device is detonated, the wind blows the dust, and it's like fine dust, it's like powder. And it settles on everything. You breathe, eat, or absorb radioactive iodine, you pretty much can't avoid it, which kills your thyroid, killing you. But a simple fix is to simply take potassium iodide pills, which then flood your thyroid with good iodine, keeping the radioactive iodine out. You need 1 bottle per person per exposure for everyone from infant to adult, available 10 bottles for a gift of $150, which is what I recommend, or $20 a bottle at prophecyclub.com. Shelf life 5 to 8 years, potentially more if you refrigerate it, or even more if you freeze it. Potassium iodide pills, prophecyclub.com. Right now we have them in stock, but so many people are ordering them, you may have to wait a while to get them.